opportunity to meet a living legend. But in addition to that, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you to Rubio, el matador menos famoso de todo de España. The least famous matador in all of Spain. I was 21, I was in Europe, I had a Volkswagen camper driving at 9,000 kilometers. A friend was along, Peter Corliss, a fiery Greek, and we were headed to Pamplona for the running of the globe. I'll never forget driving across southern France and in youthful exuberance, shouting out the window, "Bonjour, mon ami, comment allez-vous aujourd'hui?" And they invariably would go. And then as soon as we crossed the Pyrenees and we're in sunny Spain, "Hola, ¿cómo estás, señor?" And the person would go, "Hey, bambino, ¿qué tal?" This is amazing. So we parked our van in Pamplona, immediately went to line up for the bullfight tickets. And there, 3 years of high school Spanish did me well in talking to an aficionado about the real intricacies, at least some of them, of this gory, macho ritual spectacle. And that afternoon, we went to the bullfights, and as the last bull met its death in that dance with its respective matador, Peter turned to me and said, "I want to run with the bulls." And I knew I would like to do that too. Peter, you know it's called the Festival of Death, and you know that means that the ideal is to try to get as close as possible to those horns without getting gored. It didn't faze him. So that night, we partied with the Basques, had great conversations, but I had it in my heart that I was going to find out the real details, the life or death details of this. Where the bulls start, where the humans start, what's the time difference, how far the run is, all of that stuff. I mean, that was critical. So the Basques pointed us to the old part of town. And they said that they pointed me to the ancient road, dirt road. It was all boarded up. We had to climb a barricade to get to it because, you know, you don't have the bulls heading off anywhere. It was a half mile. And the Basques had told me that it's possible to start halfway. That was like danger without being too dangerous, you know. And it was a pretty much an easy run into the real dark to see the great bull ring. They did say that the people who started halfway were called tourists. I thought I might leave that little detail out here. So we followed the street to its beginning. And there was a policeman there. And I got to ask him, you know, an official person, "Senor, where do the bulls begin?" He said, "Aquí." And I said, "Okay. And where do the machos, the humans, start?" He said, "Aquí." I went, "That's it, 15 feet?" "Sí, claro." And I said, "Okay, there must be a time difference. 2 guns going off? What's that time difference?" And he said, "Dos pistoles? No, senor. Uno. Rocket." And I went, "You mean there's no time difference between when the humans and the bulls start?" "Por qué?" he asked. "Why would there be?" And that little detail had Peter suddenly agreeing to start halfway. And the rest of the tourista. So we were really eager. We got a good night's sleep that night and woke up early, 6 a.m. 6:30 we were dressed and climbing the barricade and into the ancient dusty street, half a mile into the ancient Rio de Gold, through the great doors. It angled though, and that meant there was a bottleneck there because the doors were less wide than the street and it could get dangerous. by now. We were running into the Enseñador de Toros, and we were behind one of the wooden partitions and watching those 1,360-pound monsters who would fight later that afternoon with their respective doors, enter into some pen underneath the stands. And they kept coming one after one, and I told you about how it narrows at the great doors, and no matter who or how many were there, they kept coming. And I heard later some man got it in the night. It's called the Festival of Death. But then, stands were packed and the crowd let out a great roar. And a bull had been let out. Not one of those huge ones, but still like around 450 pounds and so fast and unpredictable. I just kind of stayed near that partition, you know. And the whole idea was that you had a magazine and newspaper, and you got to play matador, all those people that ran with the bulls that morning. And you taunted the bull and then stepped out of the way and swatted it, and that was your moment in the sun. Peter and I didn't know about the magazine or the newspaper. I edged out toward the center, and I stood next to a man that felt really like stable. He had a magazine, and you know, that bull, I just kind of stayed next to him, you know. And that bull was going everywhere, and then it suddenly came around, and he got it, and I got a hand on that holy rump. Look at the sweat. I'm in Spain, and surrounding of the bulls, I'm a matador. And I'm so eager for the next day, the very final day of this festival, because I had kind of felt comfortable now. I could do this. So we went to sleep that night in our little van, and got up the next morning early. But it was not early enough. Peter had gone. I managed to dress and grab my newspaper and climb the great barricade, and I was in the ancient road, the dusty road, but it was empty. The running of the bulls was over for me. All I could think to do was to go, and at the doors, they were closed, but I pounded on those 6-inch doors for all I was worth, but who could hear through that thickness? And then one of them started to open. Somebody was letting me in. The crowd, the stands were packed again. It was so sunny, and in the middle, maybe there were 100 people. I hardly saw them, but in the middle, it was all empty. And across that emptiness, in the center, was the wall. And I knew this was my moment. I had my newspaper. Toro! Toro! And the bull. Head down, eyes focused, and my eyes were focused as well. All I had to do was assume the position and then get out of the way quickly and swat it on the rump. Toro! 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 Oh. Some man is trying to him in the newspaper and asks, "Está bien, senor? Are you okay?" And the whole stands are saying in unison, "El Rubio! El Rubio! El Rubio!" It means blonde one, and I'm the only blonde in front of you. All this wounded matador managed was to stagger to the wooden partition, and there were a number of other men there too. And one of them says, "Mira, senor, mira, dos toros." So for this last day of the festival, they had let out 2 bulls. That didn't seem to be in the program. I could hardly keep my eyes or awareness on one of them, let alone 2. So basically, it was just me and the partition for the rest of that morning. After everyone had pretty much gone to hit me square on between the hip and the ribs. And
Was he just looking at me with the screen?
I didn't know. Peter was trying to say, I waved my hand. I called your name. Peter, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. We went looking for a restaurant. Barcelona was like packed, you know, and finally at our sixth try, we were told there was a table upstairs. So we climbed the winding pine staircase